for one last scare.
Hello, hello. Welcome to The Last Scare. It is our favorite time of year, and it is this very special night for the return of Michael Myers. So we're here to celebrate the history and the legend of the shape. I'm here with Blake and Sabrina. There's a lot of excitement in the air, and I know that this franchise is actually one of Blake's favorites. So Blake, take it away.
Yeah, I've obviously grown up with the Halloween franchise as the original movies, even though they are all rated R. For a little kid, it didn't really bother me too much, and they really hold up despite that. I even, as I said before we started going live, even for the Halloween movies that I don't think are good, right on time, Jordan. I still enjoy the franchise as a whole, and I'm excited for Halloween Ends, despite some of the word of mouth at the moment. But as with every movie, and as with what me and Sabrina did with Kills last year, we're going to go in with an open mind. And we ended up liking Kills, so which we'll get into a lot more when we finally get there. But I think it would make a lot of sense to start with the 1978 classic Halloween, which I'll do a brief recap for all the Halloween movies before we give our opinions, just to refresh all of our minds and anyone watching. The original Halloween, of course, sees Michael kill his sister in the opening scene, and that's what gets him sent off to the asylum. Thus, he breaks out, I believe it was 15 years later, something like that, on Halloween night to terrorize a bunch of babysitters, including Lori, who ends up being our first and arguably the best final girl.
Mm-hmm.
So, to take it away, Miss Sabrina, what do you think of the original Halloween?
I mean, like, it's one of those exact definitions of you can never go wrong with the original kind of ordeal. Like, I feel like that was one of the movies that kind of, like, paved the way where it's like, oh, it's always the original.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm trying to think how I want to say this.
Oh, God.
No, I think over the years it still definitely holds up. Like, I love it. Like, it definitely made me love slashers a lot more. Because, like, I don't know. Like I said, I was always a casual fan when it came to horror. Like, I'd watch things here and there, but, like, I think one of my earliest memories with horror and slashers was definitely Michael Myers, and, like, especially the original. So I think years later it still holds up, even though they've made so many after the fact.
Yeah, and everyone always brings up the question of how do you make an iconic villain, Michael being one of the first iconic slashers, probably just behind Norman Bates and Leatherface. That iconic William Shatner mask that they made white and stretched out those eyes and messed up the hair a little bit. I mean, they've tweaked it over the years, but for the most part, that jumpsuit and that white mask is anybody sees and you know it's Michael Myers.
It's iconic off the bat.
It is iconic off the bat, yes.
And don't forget his theme, though, too.
Yeah,
I love that theme, man. It never gets old.
Yeah.
It is probably the best theme in all of horror. That and Jaws, I think, also in terms of iconic. Jayla, what are your thoughts on it?
I actually had the pleasure to go see this in theaters. They had a re-release at Regal. And man, it's just, I appreciate how subtle it is, you know? We're in a time and we're in an era where horror can be really in your face. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that this was the first slasher to kind of bring, like, the terror home, make it more personal for audience members, more relatable for audience members. It's tangible.
It is, yes. It is one of the big ones. You could argue that it's the first, like, big one, the big impactful one, because, of course, we can go back to movies that came out in, like, the 50s and 60s. But this was, like, not necessarily home invasion. This was towards younger people, it was originally called The Babysitter Murders. It was all about feeling safe on Halloween night with your kids, and this movie kind of makes you rethink that a little bit.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I really have a special place in my heart for the original. It was just, it was subtle, it was atmospheric, it was a good time. Of course, seeing Jamie Lee Curtis kind of follow in the footsteps of her mother was also really, really amazing. It's just a classic. It's like one of the best.
For anybody that doesn't know, Jamie Lee Curtis's mom played Marilyn in Psycho, the first kill of that movie, following in her mom's footsteps of being the original Scream Queen, which is what everyone calls Jamie Lee Curtis these days, which is why her final talk at the world premiere of Halloween Ends a few days ago was so emotional for her. Which is another reason why, like, despite whatever happens with this movie, it's the end of an era. I mean, of course, they'll bring Michael back someday, but they're not going to bring Laurie back. She did say she's officially done with the franchise, so that's always, it's hard to get to when an actor that's known for a character finally hangs up the character, because we've had another Laurie in our Halloween franchise, but no one will ever come close to Jamie Lee Curtis, and this is where it all started.
Well, I think like depending on how this one ends, it's like maybe this might be it for her story. Like you might not be able to do.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they
more.
Would follow up.
It's like why push it? You know, if like let's say she has the perfect ending and the perfect send off or whatever happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like why mess with that?
You never know. Hollywood wants money. That's why they would mess with that, as they did with the sequel Halloween 2, which came out a few years later. Everything that becomes of Halloween in the sequels kind of stems from this movie rather than the first one, because this is the first time that we hear that Michael and Laurie are siblings, which is a very polarizing detail. I hate it, and the majority of fans dislike that fact, and so did today's filmmakers, because they ignore it, given the 2018 trilogy. Laurie's in a hospital for the entire movie because of the events of the first movie. And it's a good movie. I think it gets a little too much hate and a little too much love. I think it's a little boring. I liked it a lot as a kid, but more upon rewatching it these days, it drags a little bit. And obviously they use a different mask for Michael, which is just nowhere near as good as the first one. So it's an obvious step down, but it's still a good movie. And the final act in general, I think, is incredible. Just the shot of blood dripping out of Michael's eyes as he just touches it and keeps swinging with the knife is one of the best moments in the entire franchise. But Jayla, what do you think of the original Halloween 2?
Oh man, it's not like a crazy sequel, you know what I mean? I really don't like the idea of having them be related. That's kind of like a huge downfall. I think it's a huge mistake. But they had some memorable moments. I love the shot of him walking through to the houses. That was really cool. That's about all I have to say for it. It just happens. It's not like a super remarkable movie. During my recap, it wasn't one of the ones that stood out to me that much.
Yeah.
It really didn't live up to what the first one set up.
Yeah, it doesn't bring a lot new to the table, except for the twist, which, depending on your feelings about that little detail, I don't think it's bringing a lot to the table at all. Especially when there's so much more that's scary about a random psychopath stalking you for no particular reason. I think that's a lot more haunting than they're related, and that's her brother. So it's like, okay, well then that whole shred of mystery just went out the window.
Yeah, I just, it's so weird to have like the protagonist. It kind of mirrors my issues with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series.
Yeah.
Where they keep trying to make the protagonist related to the antagonist, and it's just like it takes away a lot of the fear when they're related like that.
Yeah, I think all of the classic horror villains have had those arcs in their franchise, except for Jason.
Freddy hasn't had.
Freddy has had it. His daughter.
Oh my god!
Unfortunately,
he has.
I don't blame you for not remembering that. I actually have some of the later Freddy movies on my TV right now, so it's very fresh on my mind how they messed that up. But I don't think they did that to Jason. They did in the remake, I believe.
With who?
Oh wait, actually no. I think it was that the girl he kidnapped looked like a young version of his mom, something like that.
Yeah, I think it was that. I think it was his mommy issues again.
Yeah, it was something like that. But I think Jason remains pretty untouched. But for now, Jason movies are apparently still in our future, so we'll see how they go with that. But
we'll see if they ever happen.
If it's happened with everybody, you never know.
You never know. But Sabrina, what do you think of the original Halloween 2?
Like I said, like I don't want to say like it's not memorable. Like nothing big really happens except for that twist, and like I don't love it, but I also don't hate it either because like I feel like if they, I don't know,
It's a solid movie.
Yeah, I think that like the twist like is like it's okay. Like
yeah.
I think if they consistently stayed with it, it could have maybe like been better than it was.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they mentioned it more than just like twice and they actually like kept it in like this too, it would have been like, oh yeah, you know. But I also agree with Jayla when she said that it could also take away that fear. But like I said, I think if it's like it's got to be executed well. Like I feel like it could work if it's executed well, not just to be like a shock twist. You know what I mean? Just like a shock value.
Because it really didn't add much to this movie. I think it was a shock twist.
Yeah.
Like unlike
shock value, and it didn't really do anything like. Because, like I said, they really didn't go with that anywhere after the fact.
No, and they didn't plan to because Michael dies at the end of this movie for good until, of course, we get to the later sequels where they decided that didn't happen.
Isn't the only other time they really, like, mentioned it was in, like, Rob Zombie's reboot?
What?
So, like,
it was supposed to be... I'm sorry, Sabrina, what were you saying?
No, them being siblings, because that's...
Oh, yeah, that was a very big part of the Rob Zombie movies.
Those
it was.
But they've had done anything with that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they did in Halloween H2O 20 years later and Halloween Resurrection, the opening scene at least.
Yeah.
But we'll get there.
Yeah.
Oh, we will.
We'll get there.
But
There's
so much fun.
Again, I think some people could maybe like it a little more if it was executed better and like consistent more, but
yeah, it's all about the execution. I think at least for Halloween 2 that we're on right now, it added nothing. It didn't bring anything to the story other than just like, oh, they're related, and it's just an explanation as to why Michael is so obsessed with getting to Laurie.
Well, that's basically like what 2 kind of says, like, okay, really nothing interesting can happen after everything that happened in the first one. Yeah. So like, here's the sibling twist, because then it's just like, oh my god, you want more.
It was a shock. And Jayla, I don't know, given about that. I don't know if your situation with using your phone, you're computerless at the moment. If you can pull up pictures, I don't think you can, right?
Hold that thought.
Okay. Don't worry about it if you can. But just piggybacking off of what Jordan said, the mask in this movie was surprisingly bad. Given that this movie came out, 3 or 4 years after the original movie, and it looks significantly cheaper than the movie that came out prior. It was really weird. You could see Michael's eyes in the mask, unlike with the first movie, and the hair. It looked it looked very last minute, and we just lost Sabrina.
Sabrina, no.
She'll be back. I'm sure her computer was dying. But that brings us to a close with Halloween 2, and the next one is what I call the anthology outlier, because this is where they decided to take the and she's back.
Sorry. I literally was trying to fix my screen, then I accidentally hit out.
You're fine. I figured. We're on the anthology outlier, Sabrina. This is Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, where they decided to be like, okay, Halloween is no longer going to focus on Michael Myers. We're going to do an anthology franchise where each movie is a different story, follows different characters in a different continuity. And my thoughts on it is that just standalone, forget Halloween in the title, it's just Season of the Witch. It's a fine Halloween movie. It's creepy. It has a decent-ish story. But as an actual entry in this Michael Myers Halloween franchise, it's no good. It's just it's
goosebumpsy. It's Scooby-Dooey.
Yeah, it's a Halloween movie, like through and through. It's not a Michael Myers movie. But Sabrina, you have thoughts, so take us away on Halloween 3.
I actually don't have any thoughts because I don't really remember this at all. I don't think I've ever seen it. Because like the way you're describing it now, I'm like I don't remember any of that.
It's literally an episode of Goosebumps. About haunted masks per se.
I don't think I have. I really don't think so. Cause like
Yeah,
I feel like
it's
there might be two on this list that are like I like know that they're sequels, but I probably have never watched them.
yeah. That's
Sorry,
why
that makes
we're
me a fake Michael Myers fan because even though he's my favorite,
that's why we're
I
gonna
think
recap them all.
I think I was just like what?
No. And the
No.
only reason I say that is because of, despite even the worst of these movies, they're still talked about to this day because of Michael Myers. If they followed through with this plan and just never brought him back and just kept doing anthology things, I think it would have fizzled out very quickly. I mean, they're still making Michael Myers movies to this day. We all know the one that releases tonight won't be the last one.
Yeah. I've never seen this. I literally just looked it up. I've never seen this in my life.
Yeah.
Evil dies tonight.
I'm sorry.
Evil dies tonight.
Apparently, evil dies tonight. We'll see about that. That's one thing.
Even if he does, I don't buy it.
Yeah, I'm gonna get this complaint out of the way so I don't say it for every single movie. But I am so tired of the like Michael dying fake out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's skip it. Let's just skip it this time.
Just I'm very intrigued
because
to
you
see
know he's gonna come
what they-
back. They're not gonna retire him. That'd be like the stupidest thing ever.
Jason Blum specified because they're like, so this is the last one, right? There's never gonna be any more, and he's like, this is our last one. Hollywood's gonna keep making Halloween movies. Like Michael Myers isn't just gonna go away. It's a matter of when.
I think that
When
they
you
should
do.
rest him for a couple years, and then like maybe if they want to bring him back, like couple
Yeah,
years.
give him some time and give
Not
a
like 2
new
years,
creative
maybe like
team.
5 years. Like give him some break, because like that was 3 movies in a row. Like you
Let's
don't
give
need
us
to-
10 years. I think we need a new generation of creative heads to take the reign on this franchise.
Well, I think
You know,
if they want to bring back somebody else, like if they want to do like something like that reboot, do it with a different character. You don't need to do it with Michael Myers again right now.
Well, at that point, just don't do a Halloween movie. Like
Yeah.
it's like what we're talking about with Season of the Witch. If you want to do a Halloween movie, don't connect it to any of this at all.
No, I'm just talking about in general. Like, if you're gonna do like a horror movie character, like Icon, just do like Jason, Freddy, anybody else that's not Michael Myers.
If there's anyone that needs it, it's Jason.
yeah.
No, that's what I mean. Like, I love Michael Myers will always be my favorite, but like, give him a break.
Yeah, after these movies, regardless of even what we think of ends, I'm done. Like, we need to just give Michael a rest. But Jayla, what do you think of Season of the Witch? I haven't gotten to you yet.
Yeah, man. It was a nice little palate cleanser. It's weird. I don't even know if I would suggest it to anyone. It's very dark.
I was thinking the same. I wouldn't. I really wouldn't.
I don't think I'd ever be like, no, you gotta watch Halloween 3. Especially after rewatching it. It is bizarre. The tone is really not lighthearted, but the tone compared to like what you're watching unfold is just a big adjustment. It's a big adjustment. I give them all the props in the world for really like trying something new and trying something different. And the idea at its core, it's pure goosebumps. It's a creep show episode. Like
it's I think a Goosebumps episode is explains it really well. And I remember when I got into horror when I was little, my method for it was I'd go on Wikipedia for these franchises and be like, okay, how many are there? I need to know what to watch. And I remember getting to 3 in the little synopsis said like no Michael Myers. And I was like, what do you mean there's no Michael Myers? And I watched that one and I was like, what the fuck? There was no Michael Myers in this movie.
So wait, so do you think that like if they stopped like obviously they stopped after one of them, but like what if they did like more after that? But like in that anthology, do you think they like what made them just stop at that one and then just move on to something else?
What do you mean made them stop? Like made them stop the anthology idea?
Yeah.
It failed miserably without Michael
Yeah,
Myers.
that's the only reason why.
Nobody liked it because there was no Michael Myers. So they were like, okay, shit, here's a good transition. Halloween 4, the return of Michael Myers.
I actually not that movies can't call, say Halloween if it's Michael Myers, not anything to do with it, but like I can't believe they got away with saying Halloween 3 and no Michael Myers.
Yeah, I mean
that's actually crazy.
That was their idea for the franchise, was just focus on little, just unrelated stories each time. Numbering them was like clickbait because this was in fact not Halloween 3. It was a completely unrelated story. But fun fact, I believe Halloween 4 might have been my first Michael Myers movie. I
Really?
can't remember
Oh.
exactly. I was sleeping over at my grandparents' house, and it was on TV in October, and my grandma let me watch it with her. And at the scene where he's in the rocking chair with the shotgun and stands up and pins the girl to the wall with it, my grandma was like, "No, you're done. You're done.
You're
No
done.
more of this." And I was like, "But that wasn't even that bad." So, Halloween 4. I
Just
didn't watch.
picturing little Blake being like, "That wasn't that bad. Turn that back on."
It wasn't that bad. Halloween 4 introduces a character that I actually really like, Jamie Lloyd. She is a good addition to this franchise. She's a little girl that has this psychic link to Michael.
Oh boy.
I just, even saying that. This was the least
Oh,
violent movie in the franchise, I believe. There was not a lot of blood and gore. This is when the MPAA was really cracking down on these horror movies, unfortunately. A lot of Jason movies even suffered because of this. But I really like it. It's a solid movie, and I actually haven't seen it in a while. So this Halloween, hopefully I can get Return of Michael Myers back on there. But Jayla, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts on Halloween 4 at the beginning of the Cult of Thorn arc?
So, I agree. I do like. I like the foundation of where they start with things. You know.
Yes.
Um.
This arc lasts 3 movies, just so everyone knows, and Halloween 4 is the
Yes.
first part.
It is. It felt very. I'm not sure the word. It felt just like so far removed from where we started with the
Yeah.
first one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The first one did such a good job with tension and being grounded and kind of like being able to connect with a lot of like real life fears. And starting with 4, we get further and further away from that. I don't think it's bad. You know
Yeah,
what I
no.
mean? It's just this is kind of where for me this is where it started to kind of like lose me a bit here.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I had with 4.
Yeah, 4, it might even be because it's one of the first Halloween movies that I watched, is that I keep it so close to my chest in terms of speaking kindly about this franchise. I had fun with the ending of them, of him on top of the cars. They're trying to get Jamie away from him, but
Oh right, I did want to specifically say Jamie's. What was the actress name that played Jamie?
let me look real quick.
Because she was like really good. She was a good
Yes,
actress. She
given
was
her
really,
age,
really
I believe
good.
she was
Danielle Harris.
Yeah.
6. Yes, Danielle Harris.
Shout out to her because she made the movie a lot more enjoyable. She was a great actress in this.
She did. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Loomis. They also brought Loomis back for this movie.
Oh my
Michael.
God.
He was good. He has a burn on his face now because he was in a fiery explosion which killed him and Michael in Halloween 2. Killed them. So he chases Michael through this entire Cult of Thorn arc, which we get into some weird territory regarding that. But my favorite part of Halloween 4 is the final scene where they do defeat Michael. They, I believe they just unload on him with guns that somehow doesn't kill him, and he falls into a hole. And the final scene is, yeah, he falls backwards into that, and Jamie goes upstairs in their house, and she is looking in the mirror a little weird, and Loomis walks to the stairs and looks at the top of the stairs and starts shrieking, and it's Jamie covered in blood holding a knife in her clown costume, insinuating that she is going to carry on the legacy of Michael Myers, which is interesting. I don't like that whole passing of the torch thing, making another person consumed by Michael's evil and making them become the new killer. Halloween Ends. But
oh my gosh, stop it.
But we're not there yet. I won't judge it. But I was intrigued by this ending. I thought there was potential given Jamie's supposed connection to Michael, but then we crossed into Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, and I do not think this movie stuck the landing for that cliffhanger that it set up. To be quite honest, I don't remember the plot of this movie. I just remember a lot of the kills. Of course, Loomis is back hunting Michael, and this whole Cult of Thorn arc really just blends together for me, especially 4 and 5. They aren't entirely different, and I think they're both pretty much on a level playing field. I give 4 an edge just because I think the story is a lot cleaner. But
Yes.
Jayla, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts on Halloween 5?
5 was so messy. It
Yeah.
was so messy.
Mhm.
It was like they had kind of an idea of what they were doing with 4. And then 5 happened, and it was like there was this random guy walking around like a man in black that
I
was
was just
kind
going
of
to say, 5 introduces
just
the Man in Black, I believe.
walking around. It kind of like felt like that they had no idea what they were doing going into this movie.
Yeah.
Loomis is slowly becoming more unhinged. Like
Yeah,
he is,
he's being obsessive trying to get Michael at this point.
yeah. Nowhere close to the man that we met in the first one.
No.
It lost a lot of what I like about Halloween in the first place. 5 was a rough watch.
Yeah, 5 was rough. I vividly remember a kill he has with a scythe, which was really sick to me as a little kid. But as I said, I remember.
Other than that, you're like, that's
Other
it.
than that, I don't remember much about this movie except for little
He did
flashes
a lot of
of.
driving.
I'm sorry.
He did a lot of driving. Like he's been in an insane asylum the entire time, and he was driving like a pro in this movie. And it took me out of it. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's decisions like that. I think what you said, they didn't know exactly what kind of seeds they were planting. They didn't know where they wanted to go with this. They didn't have a roadmap, and because of that lack of roadmap, it leads to what we'll get into in the next movie. But before I do, Sabrina, do you remember Halloween 5 at all?
No.
No. Yep. We're in
Sorry,
the
I'm
same
sorry, I'm bad at this, but like, no.
I think 5 is better than the next one that we talk about, but the next one, there's just so much behind the scenes story to tell, which was what makes it a little more memorable. So Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, is the cinematic debut of Paul Rudd. It's his first movie. And it is the culmination of this Cult of Thorn arc that they've been planting seeds to. They don't know what the hell is going to grow out of that. It's finally revealed that Michael has some tattoo because he's part of this cult that they summon like every Halloween to kill, and that kind of makes them more powerful, and he's just kind of this boogeyman henchman kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a lot of just random mush.
Yeah.
It's needlessly convoluted, which is why this movie has like 3 different versions. The producer cut, the director's cut, and the theatrical cut, because they all wanted to do something different, and none of them are good, by the way. Like the best version of it is like
It's very mid. It's very
mid at best. No, this movie, I do remember the very vivid shot of the cult room, and Michael's just vibing in the corner as the Man in Black is just kind of explaining his deal, which, by the way, this movie makes the Man in Black seem like a bigger threat than Michael, which is not a good call for the Halloween franchise. And this movie was so bad, it kind of killed the franchise for a little while until the next one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, like, for the Man in Black, I'm pretty sure like they came up with him on the spot of 4.
Yeah.
Also, this is the one, Curse is the one where, like, Paul Rudd loses a baby, right? Like, that was a thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
lost a baby.
Yeah.
A whole baby.
Loses a whole ass baby.
Whole ass baby.
I don't even remember how he got the baby in the first place, but I remember him losing a baby.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you a single reason.
It's just
reason why anything happened in this movie. It's a mess. As with some of the worst installments in like Freddy, Jason, Michael, all these franchises, I can still put on. I don't deem any of the Halloween movies we've mentioned so far unwatchable. That is a different degree of bad movie. And
interesting.
The editing for me in Curse, I can't, man.
I mean, when there's 3 different versions of this movie out there existing, the editor is probably like, "What the fuck are you doing to me?" Like,
yeah, the editing's rough. It's really, really rough to get get through or be engaged with the movie.
Hard to follow a movie that the creators don't even know how they wanted to put it together. Which, yes, for those of you watching, we're destroying this movie. It's not good. Quick question: do you think the Halloween franchise would have benefited by being in? Oh, I'm sorry, you already put that up. Now that we talk about Halloween 6, yes, maybe the franchise would have benefited from being an anthology series. They kept bringing Michael back time after time to do low-key disrespectful things to him. So
pretty much, like, I'm kind of to the point where I'm like, I want a new horror icon. I want us to put to rest Michael. I don't think we should bring back Freddy. Jason, I don't think has been explored enough.
Yeah,
personally,
that's what I kept
I
trying
do
to say
think
before. Like, definitely, like, give somebody else a chance.
yes, I'm very behind on the chat. I'm trying to keep up with that too. I think we've all taught. I will say my thoughts are Resurrection Wing because I more or less agree with that. But I think we've killed this movie. But speaking of bringing Michael back and disrespecting him, they stopped that for a while until they decided to bring back Laurie after all this time. Because I believe in 4, Laurie died off screen, or
Yeah, and like
it was a car wreck because Jamie's her daughter, right?
Yeah, I believe so. It's kind of a trend in a lot of franchises like this when the main actor doesn't want to come back. They killed off Brody off screen for Jaws because he was like, I'm done. Like, you squeezed Jaws 2 out of me. I'm not going to do this again. I really hate that trend. Just don't mention them if there's potential that they could come back. But
yeah.
Halloween H2O was the first Halloween movie that started that, or I guess it's the first horror franchise that started and there she goes, the horror trend of here's another sequel and we're going to ignore everything except for a selected few. In this case being Halloween 1 and 2. 20 years later, Laurie and is it her daughter Jayla in this one too as the main character?
I know Jamie was her daughter.
Okay.
I know Jamie was her daughter because it was like Laurie and her husband died in a car wreck, and and Jamie was getting bullied for being an orphan, which was really messed up.
Yeah, I mean, kids were fucking cruel back in the day, so
it was really messed up.
Yes,
but no,
I think this movie is the one that said Laurie faked her death. I don't remember if it is her daughter in this movie, or someone else. Okay, I don't see it.
For.
Yeah, I don't see anything about Jamie.
Before, while we're waiting for Sabrina to return, we forgot to mention that Curse was the last Loomis we got. He passed away.
That's right. It was Donald Pleasance's last movie.
Yeah.
I don't remember if he ever got to see it. I know
No,
it was...
he passed away before it came out.
Okay, I knew it was very close to his passing. Even though they kind of butchered that character with 4, 5, and 6, what a performance from Donald Pleasance!
Oh, man.
Flip your screen. There you go. He will always be Dr. Loomis, no matter who we got in the remake, and the phenomenal recreation of him for Halloween Kills, because that was all practical, which I think is incredible. I mean, Donald Pleasance. No one ever really talks about Dr. Loomis when discussing horror heroes these days. He often goes under the radar because of how I think he was treated in 4, 5, and 6. But he was phenomenal. And shout out to the legend, Donald Pleasance. But that brings us to Halloween H2O, Laurie's son. Okay, it is Laurie's son. This movie gave me
2 different daughters and a son, so
yeah. What's this? Dawson's Creek. This movie gave me Dawson's Creek vibes.
Oh my god.
Wait, which one?
Halloween H2O, 20 years later. I did not like the vibe of this movie.
Why would they call it H2O?
Did you know the screenwriter for Scream was an executive producer on this one, and he wrote the first script, and I see that. It pops out at you.
I knew he did Scream. I didn't know he actually had a hand in this movie. That's funny. Yeah, I did not like the tone of this movie. It screamed early 2000s teen horror thriller, whatever. I don't love it,
had a
and
lot
I
of
think
Scream in it for sure.
Yeah, I think I'm in the minority because this is one of the more beloved Halloween sequels. Just the mask is atrocious, and I think this movie's pretty infamous for having three different masks. It was the crappy practical one. It was the CGI one that was horrific. Everybody watching, look up the CGI Michael Myers mask in Halloween H2O. It's hilarious. And I believe he had one with yellow hair.
Oh my god.
Something like that.
That is something.
There was a lot of it was pretty rough. It was pretty heavy-handed.
Oh my god.
While you were cut up.
Okay. Yeah, that's something. That's definitely something.
The mask was so bad they reshot all of Michael's scenes with a new mask. You can see the original mask, which I'm sure Sabrina's looking at right now.
I don't think I've heard this movie, but I don't think I ever went out of my way to see it. So kind of glad that I didn't.
Of all the masks, man, in the franchise, this has got to be the worst one.
Yeah.
It's just so muted. It's lacking of detail, which you could say about
pretty
the
bad.
original, but it's not good.
Why do they call it H2O though?
Halloween
20 years later. Jinx. Sorry.
Oh. I thought it literally had
Come on, Sabrina.
water.
Come on.
I thought it had to do with water. I was
Come
like,
on.
oh my god.
Water.
Well, listen. I loved the show when I was a kid called H2O. That's what I thought it was about. Okay.
This movie,
there
Michael's
are no
resurrected in water.
Movie.
That's why I was like, what is it? Michael Myers with mermaids? Like, oh my god, that's. But at the same time, I gotta be honest with you, I wouldn't have been surprised. So you can't blame me.
You should have kept that one to yourself, Miss Sabrina.
No, leave me alone.
What is this, the water sequel?
Is this a water sequel? What do you mean there's no water in here? Also, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in this? Okay.
Yeah, he got an ice skate to the face. That's how he died in this movie.
Okay.
Also, this movie ended with Laurie cutting off Michael's head. I think she pinned him to another car with a car, and he was like reaching out and shit, and she was like, "I'm sorry, brother." Just cuts his head off.
And he dies.
Did she say sorry, brother?
Sorry, brother. I think she says some bullshit like that, but she cuts his head off, and
she did say something dumb.
She said something really dumb, and
I've seen so many Halloween movies the last few days. They really do just blend together.
Yeah, it's rough. There was Jamie Lee Curtis actually went into this pretty recently, a couple years ago, in an interview. There was a clause in the contract that Michael could not be killed in any of these sequels because they wanted to keep making money. So the reason I bring that up is Jamie Lee Curtis wanted him to die, and then looked at the script last minute, and she was like, "Wait, he's gonna survive this decapitation." Look up to how she explained it, because it's actually an interesting story regarding that death scene.
I'm trying to look up how what her last word was, because I want to know how dumb it was.
It's bad, but
it reminds me of Texas
she calls
Chainsaw
him
3D.
I'm sorry. What, Jayla?
Texas Chainsaw 3D. Go get him, cuz.
Oh Jesus! When the video game comes out, we will have a Texas Chainsaw franchise stream ready.
Oh yes, please.
But this leads us into Halloween Resurrection with.
Okay, wait. I got a question about this because I'm looking at a script. What's the shape? Who is the shape?
Oh, Sabrina, no.
What is that? What is that?
Oh no! I hate that this is live. If it was pre-recorded, we could have just cut that out.
The shape is Michael Myers.
Is it really?
He is the shape. Mm-hmm.
In the credits of the first Halloween, he's credited as the shape, not Michael Myers.
Yeah.
And our episode title is The Legend of the Shape, Miss Sabrina.
It's okay.
Oh, no, I saw that, but I didn't know,
No, it's
like...
not okay.
No,
no,
it's totally
no,
fine.
no.
Learn something new every day.
Okay,
No,
no.
I need to shame her for this.
No, I did see that. No, hear me out. I did see that, but I thought
You and your
in this
water.
it was for something else. I didn't know it was like another name for Michael.
Yeah, that's
I've
their...
never seen this movie, so I thought it was another character. So I was
I
like,
mean,
who
they
is
call him that in the
that?
first movie. That's his thing.
You're mean to me.
I'm very mean to you, yes.
I'm gonna get so much crap for that later. I don't want to hear it.
I'm gonna point that out when this tomorrow when this
I
video.
hope everybody watching this is getting a good laugh at my ditzy ass not knowing anything in the
honey.
H2O.
No,
Like, I'm
it's,
not even genuinely trying to be funny. Like, I definitely did not know. Like, did not put two and two together until now.
yeah, no, you're all good. It's their, I guess, their way of being creepy. They wanted to credit him as the Shape in the very first movie.
Oh
and
no, that's clever. But I'm just saying because I haven't seen this movie, so I was like, all right, is there another character I'm missing that I've never heard of?
I don't know if they ever refer to him as the Shape in a movie. I want to say they did in one of the recent movies.
It feels like they have, but
Interesting.
I don't know. I feel like it was Kills with the 2018 one. I feel like a recent one did, but he is called the Shape. His real name is Michael Myers, but I mean, it's got to be an in-canon thing, like newspapers dubbing him the Shape or the Haddonfield Killer or something like that.
The Boogeyman.
The Boogeyman. He has a lot of aliases, and Sabrina just learned a new one.
Stop it.
The
Leave
Shape
me
is definitely my
alone.
favorite.
Leave me
What?
alone.
Jayla?
I think the Shape is my favorite because it represents what I find scariest when it comes to Michael Myers. This is kind of like looming danger in the background, you know,
I mean,
which is partly why I didn't like Ends or Kills, but we'll get there.
Yeah, it is a I'm sure a direct reference to that shape of a person that you see in like the corner of your room at night. That just
shadow?
Yeah, exactly.
Silhouette?
Yeah, I mean, he's also called the Boogeyman, which by calling him the Shape, he is, like you said,
Was that the Boogeyman?
I do believe it was.
No, he is the big boogeyman, though.
He is the Boogeyman. We're going to change the title of this episode to The Legend of the Boogeyman, just for you, Sabrina.
Not to be confused with the Boogeyman mid-2000s movie.
Oh my god. Yes.
I didn't know.
Two different things.
Two very, very different things. But to lead us into arguably the worst movie in the franchise, Halloween Resurrection. It opens with the kill of Michael getting his head cut off from H2O, and they take that mask off the head and it's some random asshole.
Can I just, I don't mean to cut you off, but like on your like little notes, all you wrote was just no.
Yeah, I sent a breakdown of all these movies in our group chat, and for just Halloween Resurrection, I didn't have any notes. I said just no. I can't stand this movie.
Just nothing else. Just no, and I just had to appreciate that for a second because that was great.
Thank you. I thought that was funny too. The reason for that is the opening scene kills off Laurie because Jamie Lee Curtis wanted out of this franchise, which
understandable, valid.
Very
not
valid.
I blame her.
Yeah, Michael this time faked his death, and he came to find her at the asylum that she got locked up in. Which, okay, guys. And he stabs her and she falls to her death, whatever. A ridiculous movie ensues where these people go to Michael's house with a bunch of GoPros, essentially, and just do their stupid little ghost adventures thing, and they get picked off. And as was pointed out in the chat earlier, Busta Rhymes gets to fight Michael in a burning.
Wait, seriously?
I will give this movie one thing. I will give credit in one spot, and I'll say that they were ahead of their time with the live streaming thing.
They were, yeah.
They were very ahead of their time, and that was cool to see. But it is true. Busta Rhymes shows up as well as Tyra Banks, and he does indeed roundhouse kick Michael. And you know, it was so beyond bizarre and stupid and campy in a back way. I think I just kind of like my brain glitched for a second the first time I saw this. I was like, this can't be actually what they did, right?
It's pretty unfathomable. I I
There's not a
enjoyed
lot to say.
I enjoyed this movie when I first saw it because I didn't know any better, and then I rewatched it, um, and then we got to the just now from me. So that is how I feel about this movie to this day. And I think I speak for all of us when I say I'm done talking about Resurrection. Do either of you have anything to add to this?
Just no.
Just no. Okay. Perfect. So after 6 killed Halloween for a while, we got H2O, the water movie, and Resurrection, the one with the shape. Halloween died
Leave me
again.
alone.
Halloween died again until Rob Zombie revived Michael Myers in 2007 with the second film titled Halloween in this franchise.
Yeah.
This movie's very polarizing, as it should be, and it's not going to be the last polarizing Michael Myers movie we talk about tonight. Rob Zombie gave Michael an origin story. We got to see Michael as a little kid for the first act of this movie. And I actually think that's the best part of this movie because it was original and it wasn't just a remake of the first movie. We just got to see his terrible home life, his bullies at school. It's just, I mean, it is the making of a serial killer. Unfortunately, they are victims of other circumstances, which leads them to becoming monsters in real life. Which it's not an excuse, but it's an explanation, and that's how Rob Zombie wants to explain his Michael Myers. Which, fair enough. Once he's committed, we flash forward a few years and see adult Michael, and then it just becomes kind of a scene for scene remake of the original in a way. Some tweaks for the final act, but the biggest difference is a lot of cussing, a lot more blood, and 0 likable characters. Loomis is fine, I guess. He's okay. He's a genuine psychiatrist. He wants to help this kid, which is cool. But Laurie is just... I mean, I guess they didn't want to get too close to what Jamie Lee Curtis did with the character, so fair, but I don't know. I struggle with every character in this movie, and it's... I think it missed the mark on who Michael Myers is, essentially, but I'll leave a lot of those details for you too. Sabrina, what do you remember about the Rob Zombie one?
I gotta be honest, this might be like one of my, besides the original, this might be one of my earliest memories with Michael Myers.
Yeah, I
like,
mean...
I remember I watched it and I was like, oh, okay. Like, just because it like came out when I was still young.
I was going to say, it came out in 2007. And this movie is the first time I saw who Michael Myers was. He was in a magazine I had that was all about Spider-Man 3. And Michael Myers was in there. And he freaked me out. I was like, who's this? And my parents were like, that's Michael Myers. You got to watch the original. We're never going to let you see this one. I saw this not too long after it came out. I was probably like 10 or something like that. I was way too young to see it, but like you, it was for the most part my introduction to the original Halloween.
Yeah, especially like I don't know, like I think the things, if I don't remember every detail about the movie, I remember that like it being from Rob Zombie and like Scout Taylor Compton in this.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, that's why I'm always like, wait, is this the one with her? Because I remember her in it because I already knew her prior to this movie.
Do you like this movie?
I don't hate it. I feel like I might have a soft spot for it because it's like one of my earliest memories when it comes to Michael Myers. Mm-hmm. So I think I have to give like a little bit of a leeway because I'm like, okay, it got me like into the character because I think I was so young that I didn't get to watch everything because my dad was probably like, no, you're not watching these.
Yeah.
And then
yes, Danny Trejo was in this movie. He played the one nice guy to Michael in the asylum, which was
That's
cool.
Right.
And then he got brutally murdered by Michael, which is always hard to watch, not because it's necessarily a brutal kill. He does get drowned, which is never fun to watch, but he was like the one good guy in this movie, aside from Loomis, I guess. So that was sad. Jayla, your thoughts on the first Rob Zombie movie?
So
it's the big sigh.
Just the sigh.
Let me start off with the good. Physically, like the physical look of Michael is in the Rob Zombie movies is probably the most intimidating and scary out of the series.
Yeah.
He's a big boy. He is very scary.
I'd say they even take it a little bit further in the next one, but regarding his appearance, but we'll get there.
Yeah, he like towers over everyone. It's a WWE wrestler that plays him in this one. I forgot which one.
Tyler
I didn't
Mane.
put him.
Tyler
Yeah.
Mane plays him, who played Sabretooth in the first X-Men movie.
Yeah. Terrifying look. I will say that.
Yes.
I liked the scene where he was in the bathroom stall fighting. That was brutal. That was really, really well done. It wasn't like uncomfortable kind of brutal. It was very physical, and that was all real. They all like really did that. So props to them.
Mm-hmm.
However,
here it comes.
Michael
Speak your truth, Jayla.
Rob Zombie, to me, Rob Zombie can be the Michael Bay at his worst of the horror realm.
Ooh.
That's not funny.
This is rough. I'm sorry. His
No, it's funny. I
dialogue
don't care. It's funny.
is very like 12-year-old boy edgy that just learned how to swear. His style kind of feels like that to me. The way he handles deaths, the way he handles characters interacting with each other feels like 12-year-old boy energy. So
keep going.
No, keep going. Talk your shit.
Man. And it's just kind of like I don't like giving Michael this origin story if it's not going to build to anything. Like at the end of the day, it doesn't change the character. It doesn't add anything. It was just kind of existing. It was just there for like, this is so messed up, and that's the only reason he had it there.
Yeah, that was.
So I wouldn't recommend it.
No, that was it was Rob Zombie's signature of just over the top blood and screaming and the brutality of naked women, which he put in a lot of his movies.
He kills a lot of naked women in his 2 Halloween movies.
Not a lot. Not a lot freaks me out in horror movies, especially these days, but that always just makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I worry about I worry about the actress and how, like, because that has to be extra stress on her, and like there's no real point to it, and it's just, I don't know.
It's something about this movie in particular that he does it at least twice. Michael's older sister.
3 times.
3 times.
3 times.
I mean, I remember the one we just mentioned, when Michael is finally an adult in the mask and everything. That one, that was rough to watch, and just it's something really unsettling, I guess, because they're at their most vulnerable when Michael does decide to kill them. It's it also seems too real. Like this movie's, I think the closest to what real life kind of looks like in our home. Literally, vulnerable without clothes and shit. It's just. Maybe that's why it messes with me. It's a very gross feeling movie, and it's a gross movie. That's the word I was looking for. It's the furthest away from fiction, I think, is how I could put it.
That's why I low key hate this. Is like one of my earliest memories when it comes to that. Because
I mean, it's a rough movie. I mean, I saw it at a young age. You probably did too. It's
unfortunately, I did.
Yeah. There's a good podcast with Rob Zombie. Unfortunately, I think it's the Joe Rogan Show, something like that. But he goes into his experience making this movie, and apparently the studio held him back thoroughly with everything he wanted to do. So it was pretty much a beat.
This is him being held back?
This is him being held back. He talked about his experience doing that, and apparently he got frequent calls like, no. So he's like, okay, I gotta change the script on the day of like filming or the week before they'd shoot the scene.
Good!
But it did well. It made money. And a sequel was greenlit, which because the first one did so well, the studio was like, okay, here's you on the leash, and we're gonna take it off. So go forth, you can make the movie you want to make now. So Halloween 2 came out in 2009, and it was very much a Rob Zombie movie. The only thing it had in common with the original Halloween 2 was the very beginning takes place in a hospital, and it was a dream sequence. So get ready for that, by the way. This movie is dream sequence the movie.
Yeah. There's ghosts. There's ghosts.
He sees ghost visions of his mom and himself as a little kid, which they recast, by the way, because the other kid got too old in this time frame.
Yeah. See, I think that,
bless you.
The ghost, she was an actual ghost because Lori saw her too.
Yeah.
and was talking to her. Anyways, continue.
As I mentioned to you, Jayla, before we went live, the one thing I respect about this movie is he realized the events of that last movie were pretty traumatizing. Our main character is probably traumatized, so I'm gonna make a movie about trauma, which for a horror movie, that I mean, it happens a lot, and it can either be really beautifully done and realistic, or it can just be insultful as hell. And
See, I wasn't laughing at what you're saying. I just was thinking of like a complication video of Jamie Lee Curtis just talking about just saying trauma.
Her trauma, yeah.
Trauma.
Yes, I saw the fucking memes.
Trauma. No, this is like somebody put together clips of her just saying trauma in interviews talking about trauma. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah. This is Trauma the movie. I like that it has a really
Trauma the movie.
It has like an angelic nightmare aesthetic to it. Like as far as visuals in a horror movie go, it looks cool. Like I like the white horse with the mom and his younger self dressed as a clown. It's cool. But then you get into the story and it's just all over the place. Laurie is going through a story of her own. Michael's design, which I hinted at a little bit ago, it's the same costume as this last movie, but it's ripped to shreds. It's bloody. He has this huge jacket on and a hood, and you can see his face and his hi Mike.
Hi Mike.
You can see his beard by the end of the movie through his mask, which is really weird to me.
That's a weird detail.
Oh, yeah, the ending was.
There's two endings. There's the unrated cut ending, and the theatrical one. I actually only remember the unrated one, which is actually the only time in the franchise that Michael talks, which is so interesting. Loomis rips his mask off as they're fighting and is just like trying to plead with him, and Michael just screams "die" and stabs him, and they just topple out of this shed or whatever. That's
a little weird though.
It's insane
that they picked that movie for him to talk.
Yeah, it was his right before he dies for good, which I mean, kind of say what you want about the whole movie. That whole final act is just what the fuck is going on. But Jayla, your thoughts on this movie?
Well, it's just I'm tired.
I'm tired of talking about this.
I'm tired. Again, we just keep getting further and further removed of what like draws me into Michael in the first place.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the same reasons I didn't like the first one. I will say, oh my gosh, her name was Allie that died. The daughter.
I believe so.
Allie. Now her death, the reaction to her death was actually really impactful. It was a good story beat, a good emotional moment, which was surprising. Rob Zombie let something emotional happen. Good for him. I'm very proud of him.
Applause.
Applause. Outside of that, man, I couldn't get into it. I couldn't get into like the Rob Zombieisms, the edits. It just wasn't my vibe. It wasn't my thing. They kind of upped all the stuff I didn't like from the first one, and like I totally get why people are into the movies, but like I can't. It's not what I like from a Halloween movie for me.
Yeah. I think Rob Zombie took it as a personal challenge to see how many fucks he could fit into this movie.
Yeah.
In just an annoying.
Yeah, he did.
To an annoying extent.
Exactly. That's what I mean by middle school boy. Like it was like he just learned how to swear for the first time.
Oh man.
When I first saw this movie, I remember the scene where that guy gets in the car crash in that field, and he's all broken up, he's bloody like by the window, and for like 5 minutes this dude's like fuck, just sitting there, and I'm like, what the hell? And then Michael comes by and just like saws his head off with this giant ass butcher's knife, and I'm like, okay, I think he eats a dog in this movie. Like he does. He
literally eats a dog.
It's like you said, it's an edgy 12-year-old. Like, I'm gonna put so many fucks. He's gonna eat a dog. He's gonna butcher all of these naked women. It's like, zombie. Someone should have held you back this time. Like,
I can't believe that's him holding back.
Yeah. Yeah.
dialogue between the guys before the wreck happened in the van, that was just like unnecessary.
It was this whole movie, just everything about it was unnecessary. My earliest memory with this is I watched it for the first time. I didn't like it, and then a little while later, I think it was the next October, my best friend slept over on Halloween, and he has the collection of all the Halloween movies, and it's like, I've never seen the second Rob Zombie Halloween. Let's watch that. And I was like, I don't want to watch it. It's a terrible movie. And he's like, come on. And I'm like, all right, we'll watch it for you. During the hospital scene, the opening scene, I fell asleep, which I never fall asleep during movies. Right after that, he wakes me up and is like, let's go to bed. And I looked at it. It was like 5 minutes after the hospital scene. Like, he barely even made it into the movie. I'm like, yeah, it's that bad. Let's go. I'm sick of it. Over it. I think he finished it to this day, and he does say it ended up being a shitty movie. So, if you like Halloween too, to each their own.
We're not wrong.
Yeah, no, definitely not. But finally, we're at the final three, I guess you could say, installments in the Blumhouse reboot trilogy. 2018, Blumhouse released their first Halloween movie, the third movie in the franchise called Halloween. That drives me insane. There's Halloween 1978, Halloween 2007, and Halloween 2018. Lazy. Anyway, this was a great movie. Finally, for the first time in, God, I don't know how many times. Halloween 4, if I'm being nice. Halloween 2, if I'm being realistic. And Halloween 1, if I'm actually correct. It was the last time we got a really good Halloween movie. Jamie Lee Curtis is back once again, and I think she's at her best. After not seeing Ends, I think she's the best she's ever been in this movie. The supporting cast was really good. Michael himself, it's the original costume, but the mask looks so old, and it's perfect. I'm sure we can all cover this movie well enough, so I really liked it. But Sabrina, what do you think of the first reboot?
I liked it. I think it really was like a good step into like rebooting it. You know, like I don't know. I like the new reboots because like I don't think it was. Yeah, at first they announced it, I was like, I don't know, but obviously I liked being proven wrong.
Yeah.
I definitely got to do a rewatch on that one because I don't remember everything.
We are going to rewatch these last two before we go see Ends.
Okay, good. Because, like, I don't remember everything, but I remember, like, when they first announced it, I was like, okay, like, I feel like that's a good step in the right direction. Like, because the last one before the 2018 was literally 2009, so it's like, okay, that's what I meant, like, when I said earlier, like, it should be a couple of years if they're going to redo Michael Myers again. Like, give it a breather. Yeah. Especially after doing three in a row like this, give it a couple years.
At least 15 years, guys. I think we're all Michael Myers dad at this point.
But yeah, and like that shouldn't be the case because he's such an iconic character.
Yeah, we shouldn't be burned out from good characters.
Like, all these reboots is like ruining that like really quick, and it's like it sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. Jayla, what did you think of the 2018 one?
It was very refreshing. Total breath of fresh air, man. It was really nice to see Jamie Lee Curtis back. I love the direction they took with it. I love that they retconned the whole sibling thing. I think it was a way better look into trauma and what happens after than what Rob Zombie did.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I have no complaints. I really do appreciate what they did with it for 2018.
I have two complaints. I have now to this day, I have one complaint because, sorry, but Halloween Kills actually helped me with something. But my complaint that remains today, which will never get fixed,
I was like, be nice.
It's like... this. It's the stupid twist with the doctor. They knock Michael.
Oh yeah.
Stabs the cop in the neck and then puts Michael's mask on and gets in the back seat with Laurie's granddaughter and.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
What the fuck is happening? And that was me in the theater. I was like, don't do this. Like, I don't know why they're insisting on doing new killers in this trilogy.
Yeah.
I hate it. Thank God that scene only goes on for like 2 minutes and Michael just steps on his head and puts us out of that stupid twist. That was maybe one of the only Michael Myers kills I was rooting for, but that took me out of the movie for a little chunk of time there. And it's just so so stupid and corny that I actually knocked the movie down because of that twist. I hate it so much. But the other thing that bothered me was they retconned not only Halloween 2, but the ending to the first movie, where, of course, it ends with Loomis shooting Michael out of the second floor of that house, and he disappears. And the last thing of that movie is you hear Michael breathing in the mask, which is just a great way to end that movie.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
this movie is like, oh, he just got arrested that night. So I was like, well, now if like you watch that movie and then the 2018 movie back to back, it's like, well, now that ending doesn't make sense anymore. Enter Halloween Kills, which filled in that gap for us. And hold on, let me praise the movie before we get into that.
Please do.
Halloween Kills opened with flashbacks, and it's all film grainy. It's shot like it's old. Michael looks just like he did in the original movie.
Love that. I think we knew, like, both so were much. Like so happy.
Oh yeah, we were sitting in the theater that day. I was like, no way, that's so cool. Apparently, we people knew about that before the movie came out. I didn't hear about it at all. So
I like we
love that. I love seeing. I'm so sorry, Sabrina.
No,
I love seeing Loomis again.
Yeah, we were both in the theater like, just with the classic mask and.
Well, and it wasn't like, okay, like you could tell, like, because it looks so good from like if you would have told me that was like actual footage from like back then, I would have believed you.
Because of that, I'm sure someone's done it, but I'm dying for a cut that splices these movies together, so you can go for when he gets shot out of that second floor straight into these flashbacks, straight to the 2018 Halloween. It would have been so cool. In Loomis, they got someone from the crew that looked just like Loomis, put some prosthetics on him, and put him in the movie as a.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
Crazy.
100% practical. It's actually insane. He sounds like him. He looks exactly like him.
Yeah.
I really liked what they did with the flashbacks. The kills were extremely brutal, which I mean I liked for Michael. He's angry as hell in this movie. It made sense. Other than that, it tried to have some social commentary about mob mentality, which that's a very real thing and it's damaging to this day. But as I was talking with my friend about it the other day, it didn't bring anything new to the table. Like it really didn't say anything we didn't already know about mob mentality, except like it's bad.
I think, I don't know, if it was done better, maybe something.
I mean, it's what are you trying to say? Mob mentality is bad. We know that. What else would you like to add to that conversation, which they didn't really do?
I got good praise though for the movie. A lot of people make fun of it, but I actually like the concept of it because like they could have explored that so much. And I don't know if they explore it in ends, but like just the whole, even what Lori said, there's just like every time, you know, like Michael kills, he becomes less and less human. Like I like that concept because like that's even scarier because it's like that's why he can't die, and you know why he was able to take all these hits in a freaking mob, like all these people like beating him, shooting him, stabbing him, everything. Like,
I like that
concept is like so cool because it's like, oh my god, this makes him even more unstoppable and scarier.
I like it the less we know about it. Like if they were to leave it at that, okay, I'm sold. He's just some entity of evil. I'll take it. I think Ends is going to go into it a little bit.
No, I think it's more not him or always being that, but like him slowly turning into that. Like each time.
Too. That is actually a more interesting idea. For reasons that we don't know, which I think the mystery to it is what makes it scary. I don't
like
think
knowing that he's unstoppable and like you can't just easily.
Yeah.
Like even when you think he's dead, it's like he's not.
Yes, it is no surprise. Me and Sabrina enjoy Halloween Kills, so. Yeah. Jayla, take us away. What are your thoughts on Halloween?
Be nice, though. Be really.
No, you don't have to be nice.
I'm kidding. Go ahead. I want to speak freely, no matter how you feel.
We can all disagree. It's okay.
Even though it's gonna hurt.
You know, it's like. It's
no, you can say about where you really feel. Tell us how you really feel.
I'm trying to find out how I want to word this because, like, I feel like Michael has a big scheme about drugging the entirety of the town with how stupid everyone was acting.
Yeah.
Because like
that's interesting, like way to put it. Because I didn't really like that.
Not wrong.
Everyone's reactions and actions just felt so like cartoony almost. Like for instance, when they're all like chanting "Evil dies tonight," it made me think of the marching band episode of SpongeBob SquarePants. Like, like, what are you guys doing?
I'm
Why
not gonna say a word. I'm not gonna say anything.
Going to attack him one by one? Why, when he's down, that you stop? Like, why were you going back upstairs when like alone? How did Michael get past everyone upstairs? That was a cheap out. That ending, it was a cop out. I didn't like that at all. Also, and like for instance,
that might be one of the only things that bothers me because that happened way too quick and nobody's like did anything about it. Like honestly, if they don't address it and it ends, I'm gonna be pissed.
They probably won't.
And sorry, and it was just kind of messy for me. Hang on, my train of thought just left.
It's okay.
I like for instance when the couple, the second couple that dies, he just kind of stands there in a hallway in the doorway and goes, "Michael, you came home," and then just stands there. He just stands there, doesn't do anything. Yeah. I will say the sequence, even though it didn't really feel Halloween to me, the sequence with the firefighters, that was well done. That was a really well done sequence, and they did not bring that back for the mob scene towards the end. It got a bit too just wacky for me, a bit too like, okay, this is a bit ridiculous now. How many people is this guy going to kill? No one has a gun. Like, what do you, and the gun thing where she like, yeah, are you kidding me?
She wastes all her bullets and then she's shooting as she's walking up to the car, and he kicks the car door open and just twists that gun around.
Where did she go when he had her? Where did he go where did she go when he had his back turned towards her? She just let her husband die. She straight up just like, she just let her husband die.
She booked it.
She just keep running at that point. He's already dead.
At least she, like, of all the people that got killed so brutally in this movie, at least she got a gunshot to the face. She was done immediately. Unlike the poor old guy that just got bashed his head in, and that old woman got that fluorescent light in her throat and had to watch Michael just stab that husband with like
that was so hard for me to watch. Was rough. That wasn't even fun. Like, I mean, that like horror should always be fun, but that was just like
too much.
It was really really hard to watch.
That's also where I draw the line with grindhouse films, which will I'm sure we'll have a whole episode on that genre in general. But there's a very big difference between so much blood and guts taken seriously versus, okay, this is so over the top, it's comical. I get the complaint about this movie being too brutal because it does take it seriously. It's not like, oh my God, look at that person's head like bounces Michael hit. No,
this isn't an Ash situation.
Yeah, it's not an Ash situation. No, he even in the theater when I saw it with Sabrina, what's the boyfriend's name that dies at the end of the movie?
His name's Cameron.
Oh my God, that kill was insane.
That kind of gave me a stomachache.
Yeah, that was.
He's like on the verge of just like, please leave her alone, as his head is just getting thrown around the railing and just spun around, and that neck snaps out.
Literally, like.
Also, Michael did that.
Did he curb stop his head too?
No, thankfully. He just did that to be a dick, because that kid's neck was broken right there. He was done. Michael goes on the stairs, and as she's screaming,
that's right. Oh my God,
she's screaming. He's just like, you like this guy, huh? Snaps his neck all the way around.
Why did they go in? Why did the dad go in by himself? Like, you guys have seen Michael kill so many people at this point. We all know.
That was so dumb. That was literally so dumb.
Yeah, he's probably like, guys, please give me backup. This guy's a monster.
They're just like,
but it's always like that one person's like, oh, I gotta do what I gotta do. Like,
you're not going to be the one to put Michael down. You're just not. You need backup.
I'm
sorry. It's not your time. It's not your time.
The spotlight is as far away from you as it could possibly be.
We
didn't even see him die on screen. The poor guy.
I think, like I said, like everything else was like a lot brutal. Like even when you said it was like the fire department's like firefighter scene, that was fine because like I don't know, I just think because there's like multiple people.
You don't really
like,
see too much of it. Like, sure, they get.
I remember
Right.
they showed it in the trailer, and that was like that actually caught my attention because I was like, wow, that's all right. Like he's already like that brutal, and then I was like, okay, I was like, I wonder if he's gonna stay that way through the entire movie, and boy, did he. But like,
he was mean-spirited.
Huh?
It was very mean-spirited. Yes.
Well, like it didn't feel like the firefighter scene. While it was still brutal, it didn't feel as mean. Like the movie got more mean-spirited as it went along.
See as much, and there's more people. Like when he did it individually, like whether there's one or two people or one person, like that's when it got like mean-spirited and like brutal in like a bad way.
Yeah.
That like it's like all right, like I know it's just a movie, but like even I have like a little bit of my limits.
Yeah. They underestimate Michael. That's always their downfall.
Yeah.
Right. No, I agree with what you're I agree on your takes. And it's just kind of like even the firefighter scene felt like an action movie. It felt like John Wick. It didn't feel like Halloween. Halloween's much more subtle. Halloween is the shadows, the shade.
The mob scene too is very John Wick.
Yeah. I mean, it was just short-lived. Like I don't think that scene was necessarily earned in a way, even though I do like it.
The mob scene?
The scene where he gets up after they wail on him.
Why did they stop wailing on him?
I don't know why they thought the final blow should be in his shoulder. That weirded me out.
When did you see some of the weapons they had?
Yeah, someone had like a rolling pin.
Someone had a rolling pin, like a shirt iron.
Some of them could have been really good. But...
Anywhere in the world, if this guy existed, they would have guns. Like even people that aren't gun owners, they would have guns. Like any mob would just be like, "Oh, hey, you have a knife? No, here's my gun. I have another at my house. Like I'm covered." Like they they would come ready.
Literally, probably should
pull out my pocket knife.
Okay, now that I think about it, they should have pulled an Art the Clown. To be honest with you.
Oh, just
yeah. They just
they would
walk up into a stabbing distance with their tiny little weapons. I'm just like,
no, yeah. This the entire neighborhood would be teaching each other gun safety, waiting for Michael to show up.
Yeah, or
at least something.
Or like everyone else willing on and be like someone who actually has a gun, be like, step back.
Not a single shotgun in sight is wild in Haddonfield, but okay.
Especially after everything he's caused, okay.
One more complaint, and I'll be nice to the movie for the rest of the day, I promise. One more complaint that I wanted to say specifically. I do not know how they confused the man running around asking for help from Michael.
Oh my god.
While they're like running around the hospital and like, why, in what world?
Yeah, that was laughably bad, and it was one of arguably the biggest issues with this movie's story. It was sloppy. It was coincidental. They needed someone to chase. It was ridiculous. But I'll do you one better with what I think this movie's biggest flaw is, which something I also agree with. They shafted Lori. She didn't do anything.
Oh my god, yeah!
She was in that hospital bed for the whole movie. And then the final scene, she's just like you said, Sabrina, every time he kills, he transcends. And that's it. Movie ends.
Like, obviously, I think, given what happened in the first one, like, that's why she's in the hospital bed. But, like, she was more there for, like, everyone else was, like, while she was in the hospital, everyone's like, all right, we're going to take care of this. Gonna, take care of it once and for all. And she's like, no, you're not. She's like, literally, every time he kills, he's just going to get, like, more and more unstoppable. Yeah. So she was kind of, like, there more as, like, if she did anything, it would be more of, like, the voice of reason. Because, like, even what Jordan said, her and Loomis were the only people that really knew what Michael was capable of and, like, his strength and, like, who he was and, like, how to handle him.
That's true.
I'm kind of thankful she wasn't involved in the mess.
Yeah.
I know. It was just kind of a rehash of the original Halloween 2, where Laurie's in a hospital the entire movie and doesn't really do anything. I personally, if I saw that in the script, I would have been like, okay, we're changing that. But we will do an homage to Halloween 2, where she arrives at the hospital and they're like, just take it easy. We got it from here. And she just laughs in their face. and starts the movie with, every time he kills, he transcends. He's a fucking menace. You can't do this. And bandages herself up, gets that knife.
See, that's where, when she did that
herself.
towards the end, I was like, okay, like maybe like that's what we're gonna get now, and then like even then she really didn't do
Well, that was the original
She
plan.
got grounded real quick.
She got grounded very quickly, and if you got this movie on Blu-ray, I don't know how many of you did that, but there's a extended ending where after Michael kills Laurie's daughter, Laurie calls the daughter, as she does in the theatrical one, and instead of it just ending, Michael picks up the phone.
Yeah,
reads into
that.
it.
Yep.
Yeah, and Laurie just knows, like, you killed my daughter, you're home, you're still out there, and she gets that knife and just walks right out of the hospital like, I'm going to end this. The reason they cut that part is because Halloween Ends was going to continue the trend and take place right after where this movie ends, but now they did a 4-year time jump. So a lot of
4 years?
Wait,
4-year
really?
time jump, yeah. So it's
4 years.
Okay,
it's
well
caught
then,
up to present day now. Yeah.
okay, all right. So
No.
let me just say something, because so that kind of like, let me backtrack from something I said earlier, because like I was like, I hope that they actually you know, what was the word I was saying about her daughter's death, like actually, you know.
Oh, that they acknowledge it?
Yes, I'm sorry, I could not think of the word. Acknowledge it. But now that I actually didn't, I forgot that they said there's like going to be a time jump and there's like 4 years. Like that would make more sense. But like if it was just started from like the ending and they didn't say anything, I would have been like, really?
Yeah,
that makes more sense.
I read a lot of reviews for this movie even tonight. I know what the plot of it is now. I'm not going to say it on the stream.
Why would you do that?
I needed to know. I'm not going to say it on the stream just in case anybody doesn't want to know, but
I'm about to like scold you for
Is
that.
it interesting?
no. Okay.
No.
I won't say that. I won't say that.
Why did you have to read it?
I had to know. I'm not going to say
Why
it's
couldn't
not.
we figure it out together?
It's I mean it was in the trailer. It's just like more to it. And if you saw our stream where we watched the trailer, you know what you're getting yourself into.
No.
It's a lot of interesting ideas, and we'll just see how any of it's executed. I'm going in with an open mind. I'm not going to judge anything, but interesting ideas, an interesting approach to how they want to end this Halloween trilogy and the franchise as a whole. So we'll see. I don't have any prior expectations for this movie. I really don't. After Halloween Kills, I just want to go in and judge for myself. Just see if, like, at the end of the day, if I enjoy it, if Sabrina enjoys it, then they succeeded.
Right.
I'm gonna try not to take it any more seriously than that, because this is what, the 10th Halloween movie, something like that. It's ridiculous.
It's the 11th, isn't it?
Let me see.
Stop, really?
13th.
Oh my god.
It's the 13th. 6 was Curse, and then 20 years later, Resurrection, the 2
I
remakes.
think a little while ago, me and my dad were talking about like horror movies of like which character has the most, and I think even before, I think this was like probably 2-3 years ago. So like I think it was even before these last two. Like I still said Michael Myers. So like
I think it's Jason.
Yeah, Jason's gonna give you one for your money.
I think Halloween Ends just caught up to Jason.
How many is Jason?
Are we sure?
There's no way.
Jason X
What about
was
Freddy?
the movie, and then Freddy versus Jason the 11th, and then the remake 12. So Michael just passed Jason.
Wow.
Freddy has 8. So Freddy did not get as much at all, which is good.
It feels
because
like we've had way more Freddy movies.
it feels like because he got a TV show.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Freddy Mania was a very real thing back in the day. Freddy's Nightmares was basically just Tales from the Crypt.
Yep. I remember that now.
It was enjoyable. Man. They had a lot of great episodes, a lot of mid episodes, and a lot of bad episodes. That's kind of how it goes.
Yeah.
And you know, as much as I really do love Halloween, I love what it's done for horror, and I love these classic franchises. I'm looking forward to seeing Halloween Ends. It's the next chapter, but I am so ready for like a new era, a new generation of like iconic horror.
I mean, Halloween Ends is opening with Terrifier 2, which is an original horror franchise with a whole new baddie. And I mean,
it's something.
It's something, and I think regardless of what you think of those movies, having just an original character this day and age compete with a legend like Michael Myers is for horror franchises. Like there's some that came out that I don't particularly like. I'm just glad they exist. Like
exactly.
Just glad that they did something for it.
No, I'm really happy. Terrifier 2 ate 1.2 million on its opening weekend for an indie horror. That is unheard of.
The budget was like 250,000. That's utter insanity.
Again, I'm probably like the only one that's excited for this movie, but I don't care.
Halloween Ends?
No, for Jeepers Creepers Reborn.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I like the franchise, and I'll watch the new one with you, but honey, you might be the only defender this movie has.
Oh, Sabrina, it's okay. I'm happy for you.
I love the creeper. He's my boy.
He's great. I mean, the sequels don't knock that first one at all. The first one's great.
I think even the second and third one, well, actually I haven't seen the third one because like it's not streaming anywhere and because of everything.
The directors.
Yeah. But I think even like the second one is like as scary as even the second one was, I don't think it'll ever beat the first one. Like nothing will ever beat the first one.
No, it won't. The second one's okay, in my opinion. I think if I watched it with you, your love for the franchise will rub off on me. But because you did that with Army of Darkness. I thought the movie was okay when I first saw it, and then we did our Evil Dead marathon, and I was like, this is fun.
You're like, this is great. And I was like, this is the best one.
This is fantastic. I was like, I wouldn't go that far, but it is great.
No, it's the best one. I love Evil Dead 1 and 2, but it's just something about Army of Darkness, and I'm like, I think to me that's just peak Ash.
Amazing, amazingly fun movie. Yes.
It is
I
very,
just love
very
the plot of it. It's so good.
It is. But we got to come back with Road to Rise Part 3 very soon so we can discuss Army of Darkness in its full glory. But that wraps up our talk for the Halloween franchise.
Wow, we made it.
We made it in just the amount of time we discussed that we wanted to hit.
Wait, I have a question. Are we going to talk about Ash versus Evil Dead too?
Oh, yeah.
We are? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, we have until April for Evil Dead Rise. So we're going to have...
Cool. I just thought it was Evil Dead 1, 2, and then Army of Darkness. That's it.
No. We're going to talk about the remake. We're going to talk about the comics. We're going to talk about everything.
Oh, we're going to talk about the remake?
The show.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about the remake. The show. Each season of the show is probably going to get its own part.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Spoiler alerts.
But we're really going to talk about the remake?
Yeah, it's canon.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know you don't love it, but it's
okay.
As far as horror remakes go, it's one of the best.
Fine.
You might walk away appreciating it more than you do now. I appreciate Halloween Kills a bit more after doing all of this. Still not my favorite Halloween movie, but I do have more appreciation for it, even though I sound like I hate it.
Okay, Jayla, the only thing I'm going to say to that is, you know what? I hope I am wrong.
Yeah, you never know.
Sabrina is an Ash enjoyer, the average Ash enjoyer. So when you make an evil movie without Ash,
no, that's not true.
Bruce Campbell has that effect on people.
Rise.
I'm sorry.
I said I'm actually very excited for Rise, even though Ash.
And the remake wasn't slapsticky. It did take itself seriously. So
I think that's why it's like, okay, if that's the direction they want to go in, it's like, okay, I don't know. I think I just think that my biggest problem is that they should have just called it something else.
That's you said that about Halloween too. That's you just want them to make a different movie. That's not connected to
No. Because I said I was like, it didn't. I think as a regular horror movie, it would have been good, but like as an Evil Dead movie, it's like.
Oh, you're talking about the remake.
Yeah, what did you think I was talking about?
I thought you meant Rise, and I was like,
I don't know anything about Rise.
What part is it exactly? I was like,
the Rise title makes sense because it's in a high rise.
Yeah, I love that so much.
I know.
The building is the chainsaw on the poster. It's so
it's gonna be so sick. Being like, isn't like a new kind of claustrophobia that like, you know, you feel claustrophobic in a cabin in the woods and like isolated at the same time. But like a high rise.
I know.
So interesting. So interesting how they're gonna pull that off.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. I trust them wholeheartedly.
No, straight up, I was just like, yeah, you know what? I trust them, but I want to wake up one day and the trailers drops, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is even better than I thought.
Yeah, I don't know when we'll be getting a trailer for that movie, but it better be soon.
Yeah.
Speaking of horror icons, next week, my friends, my dudes, we're
That's
getting
right.
into a little best friend of ours. We're getting into Chucky, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
We just did the Halloween one, and now because Halloween ends in season 2 of Chucky, decided to drop at the same time. We'll give the Chucky franchise a little visit next week.
Yeah, I think we were planning on doing that since season 1 of Chucky, just to like, I think, I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the stuff even last season where I was like, I remember that, and you're like, I don't remember that.
Yeah, Colt. I don't remember Colt a lot at all.
Yeah, so I hope this time around it's like they don't reference too much of that where you're like, what?
Yeah, I think they'll reference it
because like I felt bad. I was like, Blake, no, like I had to explain certain things to him, and like I hate that because like I'm a sucker for like them referencing other movies if it's like a spin-off thing. Like that's what I love with Cobra Kai.
Mm-hmm.
When they like do anything with like all 3 Karate Kid movies, they do that perfectly. So I think Chucky did a good job at that. But then like sometimes when Blake's like, what? And I'm like, no, I'm like, you need to know. Like,
yeah, I was like, wait, hold on, who's this?
I have a lot less experience with Chucky overall than I do Halloween. So Sabrina, it's your time to shine next week.
Yay, I'm excited. I don't know why, but like I just think I don't know. I didn't ever take any of the Chucky movies seriously, so I think that's why I ended up enjoying all of them. And
I don't think they're supposed to be taken seriously, which is why
probably not.
Some of them, some people are like take a little too seriously, and I'm like, it's not that deep. I'm like, it's literally a movie about a killer doll. Like
killer doll, yeah.
Promise
it
you,
do
it's
be
not
like
deep
that sometimes.
Yeah.
So.
But Halloween Ends drops tonight. Me and
We're not
Sabrina,
gonna watch it.
It's officially out, like right now, I believe.
Yeah, it came out tonight. Me and Sabrina are gonna be a little late to the party and see it the week of Halloween.
That's a perfect thing. So.
On the 26th is actually when we plan to see it. So a little less than 2 weeks.
We're excited.
I'm excited. I don't care about the reviews because Kills was really shot on, and we both really enjoyed that movie. So we'll see.
We're gonna try to avoid spoilers as best as we can, and like not let other people's thoughts
sway us.
Yeah, because I feel like that was I don't know. I feel like that was our problem last time. You know,
I wasn't swayed.
I know not every. Well, no, it was after the fact because like we were both like, oh my god, we liked it, and then we like saw all of Twitter's like dislike for it, and we're like, what?
Yeah,
we're like, are we missing something? And like, but then we're like, you know what? We don't care what anyone says. We enjoyed it. Simple as that.
Yeah,
that's what matters at the end of the day.
Yep.
Yeah, but it was just like it's one of those things. Where like I said, it was like when so many people didn't like it, we were like, are we missing something? And then I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna go crazy.
I mean, it's a Michael Myers movie. I'm not really gonna pick it apart if I enjoyed it and I'm against the masses. I just simply enjoyed it.
just tweet it. We enjoyed it.
We enjoyed it.
It was a movie that I sat down and watched.
Oh God! Oh my God, Jayla! I thought you were gonna say something else, and I was like, "Don't do this to me right now."
It's like a movie, a real go to the cinema film.
Jayla,
which I'm also about to go to the cinema to experience.
I literally you started talking about a movie. I was like, "Oh my God, she's gonna say it."
It's like a movie. I can't do a British accent, but I'm channeling my.
Halloween Ends is a movie that feels like a movie.
That's pretty good.
Exactly.
Blake's really good at Harry.
With Chris Pine, like. Are you seeing it tonight, Jayla?
That's what it's looking like, folks. That's what it's looking like.
Okay.
Okay, so without any spoilers, you have to tell us what you think.
Yes.
I will.
No spoiler for me. Does Michael get what he fucking
I'm going to tell you every single detail.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to like illegally record it and send it to you.
Yes. I mean, for anybody that doesn't know, it is streaming on Peacock tonight at midnight.
It's already streaming. They dropped it early.
They dropped it early. Okay, spoilers. be damned. There's gonna be HD scenes of the ending on Twitter tomorrow. So
it's gonna be in YouTube thumbnails by like.
It's gonna be. That's why I
tomorrow
don't
morning.
like.
it's gonna be
about-
Michael unmasked, like blood out of his head or something. I don't know.
I'm so mad. That's why I think I was telling this to Blake earlier.
Freddy Krueger's reveal because he shows up.
And he just pulls Michael's mask down to hell.
Freddy Krueger drags Michael to
Oh,
hell.
geez.
That's how we end.
Jesus. Well, on that note, we covered the Halloween franchise. Next week we got Chucky. Jayla, if you'd like to take us away.
It's been a great time. Thank you guys for hanging out with us as we go through the ups and downs of Halloween. We will see you next. We will see you next week as we explore Chucky. I'm just going over what Blake just said. I know.
Yes, and always remember, Michael Myers is the shape. The shape
He
is Michael.
the shape.
And Halloween H2O is
All
the
right,
water
we gotta end
sequel.
this. We gotta end this.
That's-
I'm
Halloween
done.
H2O is
No,
actually
you're
about
done.
I'm gonna
Halloween.
call it the
You're
water
done.
sequel
You're
from now on.
done. Stop roasting me. Leave me alone.
But yeah, we will see you guys soon, and we will be right back. Until next week, guys. Thank you, Sabrina. Thank you, Blake. It's always
Thank
a
you,
blast.
Jayla. Always a pleasure.
Oh yeah.
See you later, guys.
And thank you for dealing with my